Hello grade 4 learners, how are you? In this lecture we are going to continue what we have started last week. So last week we started by lines, semilines, and segments. Today we are going to continue with more exercises about them, and we are going to introduce the parallel, intersecting, and perpendicular lines and how do we construct them. So our first objective, as I told you, we are going to remember together what's the meaning of a line, a ray, and the segment. Then we are going to identify what's the meaning of parallel, intersecting, and perpendicular lines. Then we are going to learn the steps of constructing perpendicular lines and the steps of constructing parallel lines. Let us first together try to remember what's the meaning of a line, a ray, and a segment. How do we write them and how do we identify them? Let us first start by the first thing to be discovered, which is the point. What's a point or a dot? A point is an exact location in space. It has no length or width, and points have names. So all the points have their own name and they are represented with a capital letter. Let us take an example. So this is a point and we can name it with any letter we want, like A, B, C, or D, whatever. So the first thing was to discover is the point. And now, if I have 2 points or 3 points or 4 points that are beside each other in a straight way, what do they form? They form something called a line. So a line is a collection of points going on and on infinitely in both directions. So it has no end points. So it can go to the right or to the left infinitely without an end. It can go vertically, it can go horizontally, and it can go obliquely or diagonally. So it could be vertical, horizontal, or oblique. But keep in mind that you can extend the line in both directions infinitely. A line is identified because it has arrows on the end. So every time you see those arrows to the right and to the left, indicate that this is a line. What's the meaning of the arrows? Why do we use arrows? It's just to indicate that you can go in both directions. And it's named by a single lowercase letter or 2 capital letters. I prefer this form. I prefer if you use 2 capital letters because that indicates that we have a point to the right and a point to the left. And it could have many points in between. And for the form, it's written like this. It's AB. Okay? And those parentheses is just to indicate that this is a line and you can extend it as much as you want. So till now we have learned what's the meaning of a point and the collection of points. Always remember, it's a collection of points that are straight beside each other and you can go on and on infinitely in both directions. Now after the lines, we're going to introduce the line segment. What's a line segment? A line segment is a part of a line, but it has 2 endpoints, and it includes all the points between those endpoints. What are the endpoints in this figure? The endpoints are A and D. It contains so many points in between, but the extremities or the endpoints are A and D. And the straight line that stops, it's a segment. So a segment, it's a straight line, but that straight line stops. It has an end. It has a beginning and an end. It can go also vertically, it can go horizontally, and it can go obliquely or diagonally. So those 3 are also segments. A segment is identified by points at the ends. It's named by the capital letter endpoint. So you look at the endpoints. What are the endpoints? A and D. So you represent it like AD, but this time those brackets are closed. Why it's closed? You cannot pass through them. They are like doors. They are opening door, and then you close this door. So this is a segment. So if you see bracket parentheses like this is a line, which is open on both ways, on both endpoints. But if you have like this, AB, and you have closed here brackets, that means this is a segment because it's closed at the endings. And here we go for the third type of lines, which is the ray. A ray, it's a part of a line, but it has one end point and it continues on and on in only one direction. It can also go vertically, horizontally, and obliquely. So if you can see, it has one endpoint and the other it has an arrow. Why? Because the endpoint indicate that this is closed here, while the arrow indicate that it can continue infinitely. So it can be named by saying the endpoint first and then say the name of the other point on the ray, or vice versa. So that's how we write the ray. It's closed at a point A, which means here you cannot pass through A, but it's open on B because it can go as much as you can, or you can name it AC. It's also the ray AC. Okay, so both of them works out. So till now we have learned three types: the line, the segment, and the ray. Look at these. Let us name them. Number one, this is what? This is a line. How did we know that this is a line? Because it has arrows on both sides or both endpoints. Now what's this? This is a point A. What about this? This is a segment. How did we know that this is a segment? Because it has two endpoints at the beginning and at the end. And it, of course, can continue a lot of, or it can contain a lot of points. 4. This is a ray because it has one endpoint and the other is open as much as you want. Now number 5, what do we have here? We have two rays, AC and AB. So here we have two rays. Let us just try to write their names. Number 1, this is a line A. So we write A and it has two parentheses. Point A, it's just point A like this. Number 3, this is a segment AD. A segment means I have to put the endpoints and it's closed brackets around them. Number 4, this is array, which is closed at A, but it's open on B or C. Both of them work out. It's open like this. The last one, we have two rays. Ray AC, it's closed at A and open at C. And also we have the ray AB, also it's closed at A and open at B. Another exercise, you have here a figure and you have to tell me if it's a point, a line segment, or a ray or line, and tell me its name. So I advise you here to pause the video, try to practice them alone, and then answer them. I'm going now to solve them. The first one is already done for you, and this is a line. How did we know that this is a line? Because we have two arrows at the end points. So it's a line and it's ST or TS. Both of them works out. Now what about the second one? The second one, it's a segment. This is a segment. How did we know? Because it has two endpoints. What are the endpoints? They are C and D. And it's closed around C and D. You can write CD or DC. Now number two, it's a Ray. Very good. How did we know that this is a ray? Because it has one endpoint and the other it's an arrow. So we write it X, Y. It's closed at X and it's open on Y. Okay? Now number 3. 3 is also a ray. How did we know? Because it also has one endpoint which is Q and it's open on R. So it's closed on Q and open and on R. What about number 4? Number 4, it's a point. We only have one point standing by itself and it's point L. Number 5, this is a segment. How did we know? Because it has two endpoints. What are they? They are N, O. It's closed at N and it's closed at O. And here we go for the second objective, to learn what's the meaning of parallel, intersecting, and perpendicular lines. Let us start first with intersecting lines. Intersecting lines are lines that cross out each other. And when they cross out each other, they have only one point in common. Like for example, if we have line AC intersects line DE at point B. So can you see the first line, which is AC, and the second line, which is DE? They cross out each other at a point B. This point B, it's called the point of intersection, or the meeting point where the two lines intersect. Now, what's the meaning of perpendicular lines? Perpendicular lines are actually intersecting lines, but they are special. Why they are special? Because they form a right angle or a square corner where they intersect. Like if you look at this figure, they are intersecting because they meet at a point, but these are special intersecting lines because they form a right angle or a square corner. And here we go for the last type of lines, parallel lines. What's the meaning of parallel lines? They are lines that lie on the same flat surface and never ever cross out each other. So they never cross each other. Parallel lines are always the same distance apart and do not share any point in common. So if you look here at the distance here, it's the same as the distance here. It's the same as the distance here. So the distance never change, because if it changes, they are going to be intersecting lines. So what we know about parallel lines is that they never ever cross out each other, and they have the same distance between them. So this distance here, it's going to be equal all the time. And here we say that line AB is parallel to line CD. So two lines could be parallel, could be intersecting, and could be special intersecting, which is the perpendicular lines. Let us look at these type of lines. Those are perpendicular lines. Why? Because they are so special. They form a right angle. And those are parallel lines because they never cross out each other. While these two lines are intersecting because they intersect or meet at a point B. Let us solve this exercise. Write parallel, intersecting, or perpendicular for each case. In number 4, you can see that we have line NO and line PQ. And here they are intersecting. Why? Because they meet at a point. Where's this point? This is the point where the two lines meet. So those are intersecting lines. They are only intersecting. Let us look at number 5. In number 5, we also have two lines, FG and HI. And those two lines are parallel. Parallel lines because they never meet. Now number 6, they are intersecting lines, of course, because they meet at a point. So they are also intersecting lines. What are the lines, by the way? The lines are FD and BC, two lines that intersect. Now number 7, if you look at them, they are intersecting, but they are special because they form this square corner here, the right angle. So they are, yes, they are perpendicular lines. Very good. Now let us go for number 8. And number 8, what can you say about those two lines? Well, do you still remember that we said we can extend the line as much as we want? So if you extend the line here and you extend the line here, you're going to see that they meet each other at a point, so they are intersecting lines. And the last one, also we can extend the line as much as we can. So, but you can see that this is a special intersecting line that form a right angle. So they are perpendicular lines. I wish you understood everything till now. And now we go for number or objective, the third objective, which is constructing perpendicular lines. How can I construct perpendicular lines? It's a very easy thing, but you have to bring now your set square. So pause the video, go bring your set square and the ruler, and then come back to continue the video. So the steps to construct perpendicular lines, the first thing you have to do is to bring your ruler and draw any line you want. This is a line. Now after drawing the line, you have to bring your set square to draw the second line. How do we draw the second line? Using the set square, you just place the set square like this on the line, and then you draw this line, and then you remove the set square, and you're going to have the perpendicular lines. You can name them whatever you want. I'm going to name them AB and CD. So those are two perpendicular lines. So the steps are very easy. You just use a ruler and the set square. Great. Now how can I construct parallel lines? Also, it's very easy. The same steps as the perpendicular line. So the first thing, you have to bring your ruler and you draw any line, and then you bring the set square, you put it like this, and you draw the second line. Now what should I do? You have to flip your protractor. You flip your protractor. Look, how do you flip it? You just put it like this. You flip it like this to draw another perpendicular line on this second line. You draw this line, you remove the protractor, and you erase this line. And what do you see here? Two parallel lines. Let us name them CD and AB. So now I have two parallel lines. And of course, you can extend the line as much as you want. So that was everything in our lecture. We explained together what are the lines, the rays, and the segments. How do we know that two lines are parallel, intersecting, and perpendicular? And how do we construct parallel and perpendicular lines? For any question, just leave them for our live session. Thank you.